Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the 9th Standard Social Studies classes for English medium. My dear friends, in this class we are going to deal with the new concept in the same lesson, medieval India and political transition. In this chapter, we are going to deal with the new concept, that is Delhi Sultans. What is that? Delhi Sultan. Dear students, before going to study this topic, let us bring once again what we had a discussion about the initiation of Delhi Sultan or the closing of Gaur dynasty in India. Dear student, in the last class we came across a few things about Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori. And also we discussed the intention of these Muhammad Ghazni and Ghori in the last classes. So let me check once again. The intention of Muhammad Ghazni was only to enter India and loot the entire treasure from the prominent temple from India. And he carried all the treasures, especially gold and jewels, to Turks. And then Muhammad, especially, we can also notify one thing that Somanath temple, one of the biggest temples in India, was ruined, destroyed, looted by Muhammad Ghazni. And he invaded for 17 times to India. Yes, this is the remarkable time in Indian history. Dear student, after his decline, Muhammad Ghori came into existence. See, he came into existence by defeating Prithviraj Chauhan in the second battle of Tarai, which was held 1192 Common Era or AD. See, after defeating Prithviraj Chauhan, Muhammad Ghori entered India and he ruled. He ruled Sindh provinces and many provinces and made one of the parts of the upcoming Delhi Sultans. So, in this way, these two, Muhammad Ghori and Ghazni, looted and destroyed and established their kingdom in India. Dear student, I hope that you understood these things in the last class. Okay, very good. And today we are going to deal with Delhi Sultans. Dear student, Delhi Sultans. See, after Muhammad Ghori, he set out a very good plan in India. Especially, he made many of his slaves to maintain some administration in Indian parts which were owned by Muhammad Ghori. See, many of the parts in India were owned by Muhammad Ghori, and these parts or provinces were headed by the slaves of Muhammad Ghori, and these slaves were started to rule independently in India. After all these administrative systems were settled in India by Muhammad Ghori decided to return back to Turk. So as soon as Muhammad Ghori was going on the way, as we discussed in the last class, at the end of the part, he was killed on the way. Isn't it? Muhammad Ghori was killed on the way. This was happened. See, on the other hand, in India, the slaves who were nominated by Muhammad Ghori as the head of the small provinces which were owned by Muhammad Ghori in India, they started to rule themselves as announced the places as independent provinces in India. See, one of the important slave, he is none other than Qutbuddin Aibak. The student Qutbuddin Aibak, he was one of the greatest slaves of Muhammad Ghori. he started to rule in India, especially in provinces. See, gradually, the other slaves who were ruling in Indian provinces on the name of Muhammad Ghor or Ghor dynasty, they were also gradually accepted Qutbuddin's rules and the way of administrative system. See, in this way and in this way of administration was continued for many years. So after that, Qutbuddin Aibak, he started to rule his kingdom by establishing of a Gulami dynasty. My dear students, what I want to say means this entire Delhi Sultan was ruled by many dynasties, which are Gulami dynasties, Khilji dynasties, then Tughlaq dynasties, and then Sayyid dynasties, and one more Lodi dynasties. These all dynasties were the small dynasties which come under in Delhi Sultans. Dear student, in the first dynasty, that is Ghulam or Ghulami dynasty, in that dynasty we could see, yes, who is that? Qutbuddin Aibak was the founder of this Ghulami dynasty or Ghulam dynasty, and he started his administration in Indian provinces by naming Ghulam dynasty. So let us see how these dynasties ruled in India in the time of Delhi Sultans. Got it? Let us see. My dear students, see, as soon as Qutbuddin Aibak started his kingdom on the name of Ghulam dynasty, the administration would continue with some other small dynasties, as I told. After Ghulam dynasty, Khilji dynasty, then Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, and Lodi dynasty. So these were the dynasties ruled Delhi Sultanate. Got it? Dear students, let us know. First thing is the first dynasty, that is nothing but Ghulam dynasty. Dear student, Ghulam dynasty is the first and is one of the dynasties come under in Delhi Sultan or Delhi Sultanate. In this dynasty, we may see many warriors or many kings. Among them, the first is Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak, as I told, he is the founder of the Ghulam dynasty after Muhammad Ghori's decline. After Muhammad Ghori's decline or the perish of Muhammad Ghori, being a slave of Muhammad Ghori, Qutbuddin Aibak started his administration Delhi as his capital from the year 1209. So that the Delhi Sultan had started in 1206 CE and his administration ended in 1210. So after Qutbuddin Aibak, many warriors or many kings came into rule or came into throne. See, among them, Iltutmish. Who is the next one? The next one is Aram Shah. The second one, Aram Shah. He ruled. Actually, Qutbuddin Aibak would be the first one, and Aram Khan the second. Aram Shah, the second one. His duration of his administration is 1210 to 1211. But only 1 year he ruled. And the very next year, Iltutmish, he placed for the third. Got it? Yes, he comes in the third rank and he ruled very well. Got it? After Iltutmish, we can see Razia Sultan's administration, dear students, Razia Sultan, being a first woman in the world, being a first woman in India, he ruled Delhi. He ruled Delhi in Indian history. The first Razia Sultan is called as the first woman who ruled Delhi. Who is that? Razia Sultan. His administration period has started in 1236 to 1240. Got it? And very next year means in 1240 the rule of Bahram Shah started. And then after Bahram Shah, who is that? Alauddin Masud Shah. Got it? And after his administration, Naziruddin Muhammad. After his administration, who come there? Yes. Who is that? Ghiyasuddin Balban. Got it? Who come there? Ghiyasuddin Balban. After Ghiyasuddin Balban, the last king of Ghulam dynasty, Kaikubad. Who is that? Kaikubad. So these are the important warriors or rulers who ruled Delhi Sultan on the name of the dynasty, Ghulam dynasty. The rest of the dynasty will be discussed in the coming classes. Got it? Now we are going to discuss about Ghulam dynasty. Now we have come to know all these warriors who come under Ghulam dynasties. The first thing is, let us see complete detail about the first warrior or the first ruler of Ghulam dynasty is none other than Qutbuddin Aibak. Who is that? Let us know more details about Qutbuddin Aibak. But dear students, Qutbuddin Aibak is a very greatest warrior who named as slave earlier after the completion of the administration system of Muhammad Ghor. What is it? See, he is the very well slave to Muhammad Ghor. After Muhammad Ghori killed on the way, Ghulami dynasty was started by Qutbuddin Aibak, and he became the independent king in India, especially the northern India, especially in the northern India. Let us see more detail about Qutbuddin Aibak. See, dear students, as I told, he laid the foundation of Delhi Sultans. Got it? Qutbuddin Aibak laid the strong foundation for the rule of Delhi Sultans. Who laid the strong foundation of Delhi Sultan in India? Yes, he is none other than Qutbuddin Aibak. The student, he was not only a slave to the Muhammad Ghori, but also a greatest warrior, and he had a good administrative skill in his mind. And then Qutbuddin belonged to a family of Afghanistan Turks. Dear students, Qutbuddin Aibak was belonged to a family of Afghanistan's Turk and was sold to a Qazi of Nishapur as slave by his guardians. Dear students, Qutbuddin Aibak was belonged to a family of Turks of Afghanistan, and he was sold by his parents to the Qazi of Nishapur. Qazi of Nishapur purchased whom? Qutbuddin Aibak as his slave by his guardian. Got it? Then he became a good servant to Qazi of Nishapur. Qutbuddin Aibak received education in Arabic and Persian languages. Dear student, Qutbuddin Aibak received his education in Arabic and Persian languages. See, since Qutbuddin Aibak was belonging to the Turks family, he knew Arabic and Persian language very well. So that is why it could possible him to get a good education in these two languages. And then he was also trained in archery. Yes, how he was trained? He was also trained in archery. Trained in archery, and he became a great warrior after he got education. See, and also he got a horse riding and soldering. What it he knew good knowledge not only in archery, but also he knew how to ride the horses very well. Got it? So all these things was mastered by Qutbuddin Aibak. See, Muhammad Ghori, who was the governor of Ghazni, purchased him as his slave. Yes, dear students, come, let us go a little step back. See, what is there? When Muhammad Ghori was about to invade on India, he purchased Qutbuddin Aibak. Muhammad Ghori purchased Qutbuddin Aibak when Muhammad Ghori was the governor of Ghazni Empire. Isn't it? After Ghazni Empire declared, Muhammad Ghori came into existence or came into throne. After Muhammad Ghori became strong in Ghazni Empire, Muhammad Ghori purchased Qutbuddin Aibak as his slave. See, after Qutbuddin Aibak became the very good slave to Muhammad Ghori, Qutbuddin Aibak learned all the things in Arabic and Persian languages. Especially, he learned archery. That is the thing what he learned very well in the time of Ghor dynasties. See, what he did he did so many things in his administrative system. Let us see. Qutbuddin Aibak attracted the attention of Muhammad Ghori by his bravery. The student, since Qutbuddin Aibak got education in Arabia and Persian languages, and also he got good knowledge in archery and then horse riding, Qutbuddin Aibak attracted by Muhammad Ghori in Ghazni provinces, in Ghazni Empire. So that is why when Muhammad Ghori came to know that Qutbuddin Aibak had a greatest knowledge in archery and horse riding, all the administrative system. So that is why he purchased Qutbuddin Aibak as his slave, and he appointed him as his slave. And also Muhammad Ghori knew very well about the bravery of Qutbuddin Aibak. Got it? And then he became the overseer of attacks on India after the second battle of Tharain. The student, we came across this thing. What I am going to tell now. We discussed that the second Tharain war was taken place between Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan in the year 1192 CE. See, this is the only year where second Tharain war had happened. Got it? See, when this war was happening, this slave, who is that? Qutbuddin Aibak played a very important role. Qutbuddin Aibak played a very important role in that war to destroy the entire Rajput dynasty. So that is why Muhammad Ghori offered Qutbuddin Aibak as a chief slave, and he appointed as the head to the Indian provinces which were owned by Muhammad Ghori. Got it? So these were happened. Then he became the successor of northern India during the period of Muhammad Ghori. See, as I told, since Muhammad Ghori came to know that Qutbuddin Aibak had a greatest knowledge in all the things, so Muhammad Ghori nominated or appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as a chief administrative officer in the northern part of the places which were owned by Muhammad Ghori, and he became the leader of northern places in India, and he played a very prominent role in the administrative system, especially in the time of Muhammad Ghori's administration. So he ruled independently after the death of Muhammad Ghori. See, since what we discussed, when Muhammad Ghori owned the places of all Sindh provinces after the Second Tarim War, while he was returning to Tak, Muhammad Ghori was killed. After his death, after Muhammad Ghori's death, here in India, Qutbuddin Aibak became the prominent ruler in India, and he announced himself as independent ruler after the death of Muhammad Ghori. So this was happened in his administrative system. So dear students, see what did Qutbuddin Aibak do in his administrative time? Qutbuddin Aibak built the Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque in Delhi. Qutbuddin Aibak constructed many mosques in Delhi. See, among them, one is prominent among them, that is Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque, which was constructed in Delhi by Qutbuddin Aibak after the death of Muhammad Ghori. He also started building Qutub Minar. What is that? Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar was started by this Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak started Qutub Minar. Correct? It's then. A scholar, he also provided a place to many scholars in his court. See, among them, like Nizam and Paki Mudabir. Nizam and Paki Mudabir were the notable seats or notable scholars which we could see in the court of Qutbuddin Aibak in his administrative system. And a work named Tajul Masir provides information on Qutbuddin Aibak. Dear students, if you want more information about Qutbuddin Aibak, you should go behind Tajul Masir. Tajul Masir, it is one of the literary works in those times. It provides more information about Qutbuddin Aibak. So this is about the complete information about whom Qutbuddin Aibak. Now the second famous, I hope that you understood very well about Qutbuddin Aibak and his bravery, his administrative system, and the knowledge on archery and horse riding, how he extended his kingdom after the decline of Muhammad Ghori. I hope that you understood very well. Now the second ruler who come under it Ghulam dynasty is none other than Iltutmish. Who is that? Iltutmish. Okay, dear students, now the second famous ruler in Ghulam dynasty is none other than Iltutmish. Who is that? Iltutmish. His time of ruling was 1211 to his administration was ended on 1236 CE or AD. AD means Anna Domino, CE means common era. Let us know complete detail about Iltutmish. My dear students, after the administrative system was ended, after Qutbuddin Aibak's administrative system was ended, the Qutbuddin Aibak slave, who was none other than Iltutmish, he started his administrative system in Delhi. See, let us see how he maintained the administration in Delhi Sultan. He belonged to Ilbari family. Which family? Ilbari. He belonged to Ilbari family. Who belonged to Ilbari family? Iltutmish was belonged to Ilbari family and was a slave of Qutbuddin Aibak. Yes, he was also slave of Qutbuddin Aibak, who started or who initiated or who laid a foundation of Ghulam dynasty. He was the administrator of Gwalior. See, this Iltutmish, he became the administrator from the place of Gwalior and became the successor of Qutbuddin Aibak. See, after Aibak's administration was completed, Iltutmish became the successor of Qutbuddin Aibak. See, dear students, and then Ghazni's king Tajuddin Yeldoj, Ghazni's king Tajuddin Yeldoj, and the Sindh province's king, the Sindh province's king, his name was Naziruddin Kabacha. First one is Ghazni's king Tajuddin Yeldoj and Sindh's king Naziruddin Kabacha could not tolerate or could not bear the ascending way of Iltutmish as Sultan after Qutbuddin Aibak. My dear students, these Naziruddin Kabacha from Sindh provinces and Ghazni's king, who is that? Tajuddin Yeldoj. These two kings did not tolerate the development, the rapid development of Iltutmish. So that is why these two kings started to revolt against Iltutmish. Because of that, Iltutmish was developing too much in those times. So that is why these two kings did not tolerate the ascending way of Iltutmish after Qutbuddin Aibak. So that is why they revolted against him. Iltutmish defeated all these two kings. Iltutmish defeated them and then conquered the places called Ranthambore, Mandora, Gwalior, Bilsa, Ajmer, Benares and Kannauj. These all places were conquered by whom? Iltutmish. He checked the invention of other two kings and he defeated them. After defeating them, he conquered the places called Ranthambore, Mandora, Gwalior, Bilsa, Ajmer, Benares and Kannauj. See, thus his development was continued. And he also done many achievements. Mongolians invaded India for the first time under the leadership of Genghis Khan. See, under the leadership of Genghis Khan, Mongolians attacked on India. But in that time, Iltutmish made them the retreat successfully. In that time, Iltutmish helped to Genghis Khan and he made all the Mongolians to take back to their natives. And these achievements of Iltutmish made the name called Caliph of Baghdad. He got the title of Khalifa of Baghdad because such a kind of achievements done by whom? Iltutmish. Got it? And then to issue a letter of bestowing administrative power, and he got the letter, the best administrative person. Got it? And then Iltutmish divided. See, when we come to the administrative system of his kingdom, Iltutmish divided his entire kingdom as Iqtas. How he divided? Iqtas. See, Iqtas were also called as provinces. How these Iqtas were called? These Iqtas were called as provinces. And the Iqtadas. Who is that? Iqtadas. Iqtadas are the officers. Who are these? Officers to look after Iqtas. Iqtas were were taken care by Iqtidars, or provinces are taken care by provincial officers. Who is that? Provincial officers. Yes, friend, I hope that you are getting. See, Iqtas, his administrative system was divided into Iqtas or provinces, and these Iqtas were appointed as Iqtidars. These Iqtidars were taking care to Iqtas. Got it? And then these officers run the administrative system of Iqtas. And then he appointed a group of 40 Sardars. He appointed the group of 40 Sardars. 40 Sardars were appointed by Iltutmish to give the advice to the, yes, to whom? Iltutmish, for the administrative manner. These 40 Sardars were appointed by Iltutmish to give administrative suggestions to Iltutmish. Then the Prime Minister and judges used to advise him. The Prime Minister and the other judges used to give advice to Iltutmish. This is the administrative system of Iltutmish. And then Iltutmish brought gold and silver coins into circulations. He completed the construction of Qutub Minar, which Qutbuddin had started to build during his time. Dear student, Qutbuddin Aibak started to build, what is that? Qutub Minar in Delhi, but in between he died. So after he died, Iltutmish took care of development of Qutub Minar at Delhi, and he completed the construction of Qutub Minar at Delhi during his administrative time. So this is about the brief introduction and achievements of Iltutmish. Got it? And the next one is, I hope that you are getting my points. And the next one is, who is that? Yes, the next one, Razia Sultan. Who is that? Razia Sultan. Dear student, Razia Sultan, as I told you, she is the first woman who ruled Delhi. She is the first woman who ruled Delhi, Razia Sultan. Being a lady, he ruled very well by wearing man dresses. And then, as Iltutmish's son, Rukubuddin Firoz. Rukubuddin Firoz was a son of Iltutmish, and he was not good at administrative system. And he was not a warrior, and he was a shirker, means he was always run away from the risks and taking challenges. So due to this problem, Iltutmish's daughter Razia Sultan or Razia Begum became his successor. So since Iltutmish's son was not good at in the administrative system, and he was not a well warrior, Razia Begum, who was the daughter of Iltutmish, came into the power, and she was also called as the successor of Iltutmish. She was the first woman to ascend Delhi throne. Note this point, dear students. This question may ask for your not only examination but also your upcoming competitive examination. Who ruled first in Delhi? Sorry, name of the woman who ruled first in Delhi? Who is that? Razia Sultan. Very good. She was the first woman to ascend the Delhi throne. She earned the title of Sultana. See, before she got the title Sultana, her name was Razia Begum. After her achievement, she got the title like Razia Sultan. Got it? Sultana, the title owned by her. And participated in the battles dressing as a man. She was participating in many battles in many battles dressing as a man. What did it? Then she established her rule from Sindh to Bengal. She established her rule from Sindh to Bengal. The provincial officers who were unable to tolerate her rule. Oh, dear students, here the provincial officers who were unable to bear the development of Razia Sultan revolted against her and killed her. See, provincial officers are provincial officers. They did not tolerate the bravery of Razia Sultan. Due to that reason, the provincial officers revolted against her and finally killed Razia Begum or Razia Sultan. So thus Razia Sultan ended her rule. My dear students, I hope that you understood today's class up to Razia Sultan, and you should do the homework punctually and compulsory. You should read all those things what I taught now, and keep the notes yourselves, and remaining things we'll discuss in the next class. Until then, take care. Bye.